Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you're joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another FutureFight Vanguard video. Today we're going to be finishing up V-BT05, the aerial Steed Liberation set, with our gold Paladin deck. So it's the last deck that we have to do. I hope you guys have enjoyed the week of us going through aerial Steed. I'm trying to keep with the schedule of putting out a video every single day, so that we can catch up for you guys. So let me know if you guys like it, with a like and comment down below as well to let me know your thoughts on the deck, or how you like to run the deck, or you know, just whatever. If you just want to pop in and say hi, say that you like the channel, say that you dislike the channel, whatever you want, the comment section is open to you. But with that being said, before we get started, if you guys like anime or gaming, be sure to check out my second channel down below, at Let's Plays Animes on YouTube. Check out our sponsor at Cardfight Vision or Team Vision. It is down in the description below. It has a website that has a lot of things for you guys to take advantage of, such as strategies, deck lists, mechanics of the game, and stuff like that. Articles and videos for you guys to watch and read. And also, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel a little further, a step up, then you can check out the join button next to the subscribe button on my channel. It's actually a channel membership where I offer a lot of different perks on the channel for that. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely check that as well. But with that being said, let's get right into today's video. So today we're going to be talking about Gold Paladin from V-BT05, like I said. So obviously this is an Accel deck. Like I said with the Narukami deck, there's not really a time where you don't want to go Accel 2 in this deck, just because Accel 2 is really broken as opposed to Accel 1, because it allows you to ride a grade 3 and you're not losing a card in your hand because you're automatically drawing a card, replacing that card every time you ride. So having doing that every single time that you ride, instead of like straight minusing when you ride just for like a 5k power difference, is not really worth it unless you're playing against a deck that you think you will deck out against, such as like Mega Colony or something like that, with them milling you. But let's get right into the deck. So for our grade 3s, we actually do run a lot of grade 3s in this deck, because the deck is based on going to grade 3 really quickly. So once we get to grade 3 ahead of our opponent, our grade 3s it's not actually a problem that we have a lot of grade 3s in the deck or in our hand. So with that being said, let's start with the new premier card that they got this set, which is for Blazing Lion Platina Accel. So Platina Accel, what it does is it has an activation ability that says Counterblast 1 and change this turn's first drive check to a skill that says look at top 2 cards from your deck, reveal 1 card from among them, put in your trigger zone, and then call the other one to rearguard circle. If your soul has 2 or more grade 3 cards, then you change the second drive check of the turn and beyond that as well. So the reason why this card is so freaking good is because it's playing off of the ability that the deck had before to just ride really quickly and superior ride as well. And then you get 2 Accels in your soul, or 2 grade 3s, and then you just ride to Platina. You stay on Platina for the rest of the game, or you just ride new Platinas. So it makes it really, really good, because you can look at the top 2, and let's say that there's like a front trigger there and a normal unit. You can call the normal unit out, and then the front trigger will go off, giving power to the unit that you just called and your front row. So it makes it really, really strong with triggers. Obviously, you can like preordain your trigger checks, sort of similar to OTT. So if your opponent like 2 to passes you, that's usually a bad situation for them, because you're usually able to just pass the attack. So very, very good. And you guys will see it in action in the play part of the video. Moving on, we have 3 Incandescent Lion Blonde Accel. I thought about running 4 of this card, but 3 is fine, honestly, after playtesting with it. It has 2 abilities. The first one is an activation ability that activates from your hand that says if you have a Superior Knight Skills Bowmains and a Knight of Elegant Skills Gareth on your Vanguard or Rearguard circle, you can Soul Blast a Crimson Lion Cub Criff, and then ride this card as stand. And if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 2 or less, then this unit gets -1 drive to make up for the fact that you rode to grade 3 before them. And then it has a Vanguard ability that says when it attacks, you may call a card from hand to rearguard circle. So obviously this is the first grade 3 that you want to go into. It is your way to get into your superior ride, where you start going to 3 before your opponent. Blonde Accel can either superior ride itself via its skill if you have this grade 2 Bowmains and this grade 1 Gareth on the board, which is not that hard. If you get Bowmains, then you're gonna have Gareth, because Bowmains can go search Gareth out. And then obviously Crimson Lion Cub Criff is your starter, so you're always gonna have your starter in your soul, unless you soul blasted it for some weird reason in the early game, which you should never do. So just don't Soul Blast your starter unless it's for this ability. Also, another way that you can get into Blonde Ezel is Wonder Ezel, our grade 2, but we're going to go over that when we get to that one skill. So obviously you want to go into this one first, and then the plan is to Superior Ride to Ravenhair after that, and then after that, ride Platina. So speaking of Ravenhair Ezel, let's get into that. So we run 3 Ravenhair Ezels. It has 2 abilities as well. Also has an activation from hand ability that says if your Vanguard is Incandescent Lion Blonde Ezel, you can counterboss 1 and ride this card as stand. What this means is this is an incredibly powerful ability, as this allows you to Superior Ride to Blonde Ezel if you have the setup for it, and then if you have just 1 counterblast, which you will usually have because your opponent attacked you on grade 1 turn, you're able to counterboss 1 and just ride this card as stand, and it gets to keep its drive check. So not only do you get to ride, again, getting another Accel 2, drawing another card, but you also get to attack with Twin Drive, which puts you way ahead of your opponent by default, in my opinion. Then its secondary ability is a Vanguard only ability that says when it attacks, if you have an Incandescent Lion Blonde Ezel in your soul, then you can counterboss 1, and until the end of the battle, this unit gets plus 15k in a crit, and your opponent cannot call Sentinels from his or her hand. So this is also a really important ability, because if your opponent crit you on turn 1, or you happen to have 2 counterblasts because they rushed you or something like that, you're able to use Ravenhair's skill, which they usually won't be able to block it that early in the game, just because it's 27k, 2 critical, and they can't guard with PGs. So the best that they can do is block with 20k, and then that would be a 1 to pass, and that's if you don't have a booster, which a lot of times you will have a booster in the form of Gareth. So it's just a lot for your opponent to block early game, so they usually won't block it. So putting on that extra damage to your opponent in the early game really helps and really matters. Then rounding out our grade 3 lineup, we run one Battlefield Storm Sagamore. Sagamore is basically just in here as another way to call Dendrain or call cards from our hand with abilities, such as Bowmains gets power when it's called by an ability. You can also do like combos with Hoel and stuff like that, and it also draws you a card and plays a card for a simple Soul Blast. So we have plenty of soul to include this card, and it does come in clutch when you do get it, but we only want to run it at 1 because obviously we don't want to see too many. This isn't premium. So its Vanguard Rearguard ability is when placed from hand, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and you can call a card from your hand to Rearguard circle. Pretty simplistic, and it activates a lot of other abilities as well. Moving into our grade 2s, we have 4 Flame Wind Lion Wonder Ezel. So Wonder Ezel has 2 abilities. The first one is a Vanguard only ability that says Soul Blast 1 and retire a Crimson Lion Beast Howl, which is this grade 1 right here. So basically, if you ride this card to grade 2 and you have this grade 1 in your hand, you can play it, and then you can Soul Blast 1, retire that grade 1, and then you search your deck for 1 Blonde Ezel, ride it as stand. It gets -1 drive because it came from the deck. So obviously this is really good because this is why we're able to run less 2s as well, because we only run 9 2s in this deck. The reason being is that if you happen to get Grey Locked and you don't get a 2, you can G-assist for your grade 2, and then if you miss it and your opponent goes ahead of you and they go to grade 3, you can still catch up with them and go to grade 3 and still get more markers than them before that if you have the setup for doing like Ravenhair Ezel as well. So there's not really a need to run a lot of grade 2s because that's not the focus of the deck, but it does just help you get to your higher level of the deck that you want to obtain, or you want to reach, rather. Then it has a Rearguard ability that says when placed, you may call a card from your hand to Rearguard circle. So obviously that seems like a pretty simplistic ability, but as opposed from you just calling it from your hand naturally, it will count as a superior call. So obviously playing Gareth, playing Dendrain, playing Bowmains by Wonder Ezel skill will all net you their skills and their pluses. Moving on to our next grade 2, we have 3 Knight of Superior Skills Bowmains. Bowmains has 2 abilities. First one is Vanguard Rearguard Circle. When placed from hand, discard a card, search your deck for up to 1 Knight of Elegant Skills Gareth, and call it to Rearguard Circle and shuffle your deck. And then the secondary ability is a Rearguard only ability that says when placed by your card's ability, this unit gets plus 3,000 power. So obviously makes a big difference against other Protect and Accel decks because that makes you 12k base, and then anything beyond that is a good number. And this doesn't really change your number against Force per se, unless you have a booster, which it does change the number. So just be wary of that. And then also you just use this card to get into your Blonde Ezel if you happen to have it in your hand. Moving on, we have 2 Advance of the Black Chains Chitin. This is another new card to come out of this set. Pretty good card, but we don't run like more than 2 of it because there's not really a need to. Its skill only comes in handy in a couple situations, so that's why we only run 2. But its skill is on rearguard circle. When placed, counterboss 1 and discard a card from your hand. Look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, call up to 1 from among them to rearguard circle, shuffle your deck, and then if you have a Stronghold of the Black Chains Hoel on your Vanguard or rearguard circle, you can draw a card. So basically, you can even use this card and then call a Hoel off the skill and still get the draw. So very, very good card. Obviously, only run it at 2 because it has its select purposes. Moving on to our grade 1s, we have 4 Crimson Lion Beast Hoel. So Hoel has its own ability, but it also synergizes with Wonder Ezel to get you to Incandescent Lion Blonde Ezel in the early game. But its own ability is on the rearguard circle at the end of the battle that it boosted. If you have a Vanguard with Ezel in its card name, which most likely you will, unless you just happen to ride Sagamore for some terrible reason, like if Sagamore was the only thing that you could ride, rest in peace, you can't use Howl. But other than that, you can't use Howl because all of your Vanguards beyond that are Ezel. So at the end of the battle that it boosted, if you have a Vanguard with Ezel in its card name, counterboss 1, put this card into your soul, draw a card, and call a card to rearguard. Yet another card that draws you a card and calls a card to rearguard, similar to Sagamore, except it just costs a counterblast. And you shove this card into your soul instead of just soul blasting. So this also fills your soul and then also fills those requirements that I was talking about before, calling cards from your hand to rearguard via an ability. Then moving on, we have 4 Stronghold of the Black Chains Hoel. So Hoel we actually run at 4 just because you can run Hoel without kiting, but you shouldn't really run kiting without Hoel. So we're running Hoel at 4 just because it has a lot of select uses that are really good. Its continuous rearguard ability is when your other unit in the same column as this unit was placed this turn, it gets plus 5,000 power, and then if you have a kiting on your Vanguard or rearguard circle, it gets plus 10,000 power instead of 5,000. So obviously if you have a kiting on the board, more power to you, more plus, but if not, every card that you play in front of it gets plus 5,000 power as long as it was played that turn. So that's really swole and really strong and really good. Then moving on, we have 3 Listener of Truth Dindrain. Listener of Truth Dindrain helps keep our resources in check as well as pluses us. And it says when placed due to your card's ability, Soul Blast 1, and you may either draw a card or countercharge 1. This unit gets plus 3,000 power until the end of the battle. So something that I thought about this card is that the draw card or countercharge was the opinion that you get, and then regardless you get 3k. It actually seems to not be that way. You either draw a card or you countercharge and you get 3k. It's one or the other. You don't draw and get 3k. You can only draw or countercharge in 3k. So important note to point out because even I didn't know that before I started playing with this deck. So then, rounding out our grade 1 lineup, we have 2 Knight of Elegant Skills Gareth. Its rearguard ability is when placed by your card's ability, counterboss 1, and this unit gets plus 10,000 power. So obviously it can become a really big beat stick or a really big booster, but obviously we're only running it at 2 because it's only really there to work with Bowmains to get you into Blonde Ezel in that early game. Then our starter, we're running Crimson Lion Cub Criff. You obviously can't run another starter because it directly synergizes with the card in the deck, which is Blonde Ezel. You have to Soul Blast this card exactly to Superior Ride Blonde Ezel with Bowmains and Gareth on your board. And then for our triggers, we actually run an interesting trigger lineup. We run 2 crit, 4 fronts, 6 draw, and 4 heal. So for our critical triggers, we're running 2 Fortune Bell. For our front triggers, we're running 4 Greeting Drummer. For our draw triggers, we're running 4 Halo Shield Mark. This is our PG draw. And 2 Farsight Courier, which is our regular draw. And then we're running 4 Elixir Somir. So that has been the deck portion of the video, and we're going to switch right over to the game portion right now. Alright guys, so as you guys can see, we're on the game portion of the video now. You guys see the exact same list that I just explained to you, and we're going to go ahead and head into World Fight. Oh, actually? No! Okay, we'll just do it after this game, but I was going to switch to Corrin as my character. I just forgot since the last video. But we actually got a match just really freaking fast, so I actually didn't expect that. So we draw our opening hand. We're going to put back 1 and then 2 as well. So we actually got a decent hand, pretty decent, pretty good hand. So our opponent seems like they're playing Melody or Highlander. which is cool. Obviously, a joke that I like to make is that part of our starting hand is whether we go first or second in Gold Paladin, because that actually does matter a lot. We didn't go first, so we will be able to superior ride and get to 3 before him or her, but it would have obviously been a lot better had we gone first. But our opponent is soul blasting right now and revealing a melody unit so that he can get a melody unit, add it to hand. And then our opponent is going to go ahead and pass the turn. So we draw for turn into Dindrain. That's cool. We're going to hold that. We're going to ride Hoel. Use Crypt skill to draw a card. That's perfect. And then we're just going to attack for 8. Drive check. We got a front trigger. Unfortunately, we wasted that front trigger. We don't really want to check fronts in the early game just because it is a big waste before we're on Platina, pretty much. And then we pass to our opponent. Our opponent rides Lieselot because in the game, Lieselot and Sonata can be used in the same deck. I don't know why they like put patch updates in the game, but they don't, like, the ban list doesn't affect anything basically in the game, which is stupid, but you know, it's whatever. Then our opponent plays Lucas, I think this card's name is, something like that. We are gonna go ahead and guard this first attack. And then we are going to take this second attack. I actually expected him to attack with Vanguard first, but this works out as well. If we check a trigger, it's the same thing. So we did check a damage trigger, critical trigger, and power to Vanguard. So our opponent now has to check a trigger to get over our defense, which is good. And if our opponent doesn't check a trigger, then it can be a good advantage for us as well. So we're going to go ahead and no guard there. Alright, fortunately for us, our opponent did not check a trigger. No damage has to come to our face. This is also really good because we're playing against Melody, which they're going to go into Force 2 and start hitting us with big damage very shortly. So we definitely want to keep ourselves safe from that. So we are going to ride Bowmains, use Bowmain's skill. I do want to keep these cards in my hand, so we're going to get rid of 1 Blonde Accel to search out our Gareth. We might as well go ahead and use Gareth's skill. Counterboss 1 gets power, and then we're gonna use our skill of our Blonde Accel, Soul Blast out our starter, and Superior Ride. We do go Accel 2, so we can start plussing, and we do get another Criff, which is, you know, not hurtful. It's fine. So let's just call Wonder Accel here, use the skill to call out Dindrain. Dindrain's skill is going to activate. I'm going to Soul Blast 1, and I'm actually going to opt for that draw. Alright, so we have a lot of Platinas in our hand, so that's somewhat good, honestly, but because we're at low damage. So let's go ahead and attack Vanguard for 30. We're actually going to use Blonde Accel skill as well to call a Dindrain, and then use the skill, Soul Blast out and draw. Alright, we drew into another Dindrain. See what our opponent decides to do. I mean, I would think it's a big fat no guard, but you never know with people these days. If we check a front, that would be godlike here. Oh, okay. Unfortunately, we did not check a front. Our opponent takes a damage and does not get a trigger, although that does not matter because our Dindrains cannot hit. So we're going to attack 14 to Vanguard. And then our opponent is just going to go with the simple intercept. Alright, and just like that, we're going to pass our turn. I wish we had the Raven hair as well, honestly, because we would have been able to make plays there, but unfortunately, it was not in the cards for us. So our opponent rides Sonata and goes into Force 2, as expected. Probably going to use Sonata's skill right here to see what they get before calling a board. Yep, so counter boss 1, soul boss 1. And it's the grade 2. That's actually the best call that we could have hoped for them to call, because it's not one of the grade 3s with the abilities. So hopefully he doesn't have a Karo in hand, because that would suck for us. Alright, our opponent called a Sonata, so it leads me to believe that they do actually have a Karo. Unless they just call that Sonata just for the power. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I see what they're doing now. They want one of their attacks to hit so that they can use Serena's ability to draw. Which, unfortunately, we're just going to have to give to them, so. No guard. Damage tech, no trigger. And now our opponent gets to draw 2 cards. That skill is so good. 23 to Vanguard. We also have to take that because our hand is pretty crappy as far as shield right now. Check 1. Check 2. Alright, no triggers. That's pretty good for us, actually. Damage check 1. Heal trigger. We do perform the heal. And power to Vanguard. Damage check 2, draw trigger, nice. So he actually can't hit our Vanguard anymore. That's really, really nice, actually. Unfortunately, we lost one of our draw trigger PGs. And that's going to be important going forward, but we're just going to go ahead and no guard this rear guard. We don't want that Wonder Accel. Alright, standard draw. I knew that was gonna happen. Alright, so we top deck the Raven hair, which we are actually going to ride, because using its ability is better than using Platinum right now. And then we are going to keep these in our hand, keep this in my hand. And then I'm actually going to call this Hoel here. And besides that, I think we are going to keep our hand the way that it is. Alright, so swing at Vanguard, use use Raven Hair to get plus 15k in a crit. No Sentinels. Our opponent's probably gonna no guard, unless they want to give us a good chunk of cards, which we're also fine with. Alright, opponent guards for 48. First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Alright, so we do get 2 Kaidens though, which will be useful going into the next turn. Because next turn we'll be able to do our power play with Platina. So that is a thing as well. So we're going to attack for 15 here. And our opponent does guard. Alright, so we're gonna in-turn right there. We're doing decent right now, but we really, things could go really off kilter if he gets a Karo. So we're just praying that he does not get a Karo. Alright, so you ride Sonata again. Make that Force 2 more prevalent. Oh, I have no idea. He must have clicked his Vanguard by accident, because he just stacked the Force 2 to his Vanguard again. I wonder if he knows that it doesn't stack. Counter boss 1, soul boss 1. He did not get the Karo, so we're safe for yet another turn, boys. I guess he's deciding where he wants to place it. He decides to place it over the grade 2, which is, you know, pretty much the only place that he could play it. So our opponent wants to swing first with his rear guard just to get that draw, which we are going to let him have because our hand's not the best right now. And we're going to be hoping for a damage trigger. Nice, we got a front trigger. So front, power to Vanguard. He does use Serena to draw him a card, which is a sacrifice that we had to make. And then we are going to guard his Vanguard with his heal trigger for a 2 to pass. Check 1. Check 2, nothing. Alright, cool. So I actually think we should just go for saving our defenses for next turn and just take this last attack. Yeah, especially because he's going to attack into our face. We're also going to need the resources for kiting calls and all that crazy shenanigans that we're going to be doing next turn. So damage check, Sagamore, our one Sagamore that we run in the deck. Goodbye, my friend. Alright, so stand and draw. We draw a Hoel. That's actually really tight. So we ride Platina. Let's activate Platina's skill first. Boom, we did it. And then let's call this kiting here. Kiting skill, counterboss 1. And let's discard the 5K. And then let's call the Wonder Accel. We will actually use Wonder Accel's skill to call Dendrain. Dendrain will use skill, Soul Blast out of 3, and draw us a card. And we drew a front trigger, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is, I guess. So then we're gonna set up this this Howl right here. All right, and we're just gonna go in. So let's first attack with Howl for 13 to Vanguard. No guard in hopes of a trigger. He probably will get it, honestly. Oh, okay. I thought he was gonna get it because I haven't seen many trigger checks from him this game, but maybe not. Attack for 14. No trigger check still. That's amazing. Alright, so now we're going to attack with Platina. This is honestly not looking good for our opponent. Alright, so our opponent PGs the Vanguard, which is always the smartest option with Platina. But this does leave him with 5 cards in hand, so if his one of his next checks is not a damage trigger, that could be really bad for him. But we do check a crit. We are going to call over our kiting, activate the critical trigger. Let's put it on our Ravenhair. And then we got a heal trigger. Also very nice. Heal triggers, so we're gonna go ahead and heal one. And then give the power to Ravenhair because it does have that crit. Let's see if we want to call one. Honestly, we don't because we have attacks to go. So now our opponent is going to have to guard 37 with a crit if they can. I know Melody hands are usually pretty fake, so this is a pretty big number. I think regardless, to survive this turn, he still does have to check a damage trigger. So I think he's just kind of hoping for that right now. Let's go ahead and attack for 14. No guard. Oh man, no damage trigger. Alright, I guess that seals the game. Unless the last 3 cards in his hand are like actual cards that he can block with. Yep, he no guarded it, so unless he gets a heal. Oh man, he got the 6 damage heal. That's actually wild. Okay. This changes things a lot. So he does heal off the damage. And then we are forced to just attack into his rear guard. And we can only attack Vanguard with this because he has this grade 1 here. So we're actually just going to pass turn. I also misplayed, guys. I probably should have attacked with Wonder Ezel and then called this over Wonder Ezel and not over Kaidin, because I forgot that it does still have a use when Hoel is there. But our opponent rides another Sonata. Hopefully puts the Force 2 on rearguard this time. Yeah, okay. And he's probably going to use Sonata still. As long as he doesn't get a Karo, I think we're still in the clear. But I guess he has to get the Karo eventually, unless he's just really that unlucky. And about Soul Blast. Yep, and there's the Karo. Okay, guys. Oof. This turn's honestly looking rough. I think he should have put the Force 2 here. Unless he's planning on replacing this with a grade 3. Which he probably is, because I think he has a grade 3 in his hand, yeah. Okay, what can we do about this, honestly? So this is attacking us for 46, 51. So both will be attacking us for 51. So our best bet is to block this for 52 like that. And then will we be able to block another 52? 27, 37, 47, 52. Yeah, so best bet is we guard like this and he does not check a critical trigger or a trigger in general, which is pretty unlikely because I feel like he hasn't really checked triggers this game. Oh wow, that's interesting actually. So he chooses to attack with rear guard first, so we're gonna go ahead and take that. And we don't get a damage trigger, unfortunately. Oh, okay, so he attacked with rear guard to be able to use double Serena skill. Which is, you know, that's fine. I mean, I think he should have just been thinking about going for the kill, but that's just me. So he's attacking for 51. And the best that we can do is guard for 52 and hope that he doesn't get a trigger. Alright, let's do it, boys. Pray. 1. Crossing our fingers. Oh, he got the critical. Yeah, honestly, that was just unfortunate for us, guys, because we never found that. I was pretty sure that when we Platina'd, we were going to find our PG draw trigger, but we just never did. So that was pretty terrible, just because in that matchup, you definitely need to get your PG draw triggers. But you know why we really lost? Is because we weren't using Corrin, so we're going to switch to Corrin real quick. How can we fight another ultra rare member without us being an ultra rare member that plays the deck? We definitely would have won. It's because we have that Naoki luck. Alright, there we go. Corrin Tatsunagi, boys and girls. Alright, so we're going right back into World Fight. See if we get a match as quickly this time. Corrin's actually, like, art and color for the color scheme for Cardfight EX actually looks really, really good. Finally found a second match. This person has higher rate than us, but that don't mean nothing. We got Corrin-chan. Know what I'm saying? Alright, so we're also going first, which is pretty tight, but our hand is pretty trash. So let's go ahead and put back 4 cards. and hope for a better hand. Alright, so we need a grade 2. Our opponent's also playing Accel. This is kind of funny. So let's go ahead and ride this Gareth in case we get the grade 2. Alright, we're still missing a grade 2. Worst case scenario, we can G-assist for it next turn and hopefully get it. If not, our opponent will suddenly have the advantage of going first in his gold paladin, his or her gold paladin deck, which is not good. So let's actually block that attack, because I have this like belief that whenever you guard the attack and you're grade locked, then you draw into the 2 that you need. Let's test my theory, shall we? Alright, so we didn't get it. So we're G-assisting. And oh, thank God we got the Wonder Ezreal. It was the last card. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this and a Howl. So those are the only cards that look like they're in our hand right now that we don't really care about. So let's go ahead and ride Howl. Call Howl. Or sorry, ride Wonder Ezreal, call Howl. Soul Blast 1. Get rid of this. Search our deck for Incandescent Lion. Blonde Accel. Superior Ride. Accel 2. Draw a card. That's perfect because we're actually going to call Sagamore. Skill, Soul Blast. Draw. And we're going to call the Dendrain here. Hit another Soul Blast for the draw. Oh, if we had a counter boss here, we could go so ham. We can just save it for next turn. It's honestly not that big of a rush. We're not going to call anything off of Ezreal skill. Drive check 1. Oh, sorry, we only get 1 drive check. He does not hit a defensive trigger, which matters because we would not have been able to hit him. Then we attack for 17. Our opponent's probably taking it because he has the sauce in his hand. If he ends up on the Raven Hair, I'm going to be quite sad. Alright, gets a front trigger. The best case scenario is that our opponent is somehow not able to pull off his Superior Ride, but I really doubt that. Oh! Our opponent just scooped, so he probably had the grade 2, but he didn't have he probably didn't have a way to Superior Ride, and he just thought that it was going to be too much of a disadvantage. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, it'd be like that though. It'd be like that though. You know what I'm saying? It really do be like that though. In real life, I wouldn't say just scoop, but like you're definitely at a really hard disadvantage. If your opponent goes first, you're both playing Gold Paladin, and then your opponent gets the Superior Ride off, and you cannot get the Superior Ride off. It's pretty awful. Even in Premium, same thing. But we just got the same person as a match again, so let's try to run it back for our last match. Hopefully they switch decks, but probably not. And we're going first again. This time our hand is actually not bad, so we're just going to keep it. I don't know if we'll be able to Superior Ride with this hand, but we definitely did want to put stuff back and risk getting like a really crappy card instead. So this hand is decent so far. We probably won't be able to Superior Ride unless we top deck Bowmains or top deck a Howl. But it won't be so bad just because our opponent went second. So if anything, we'll be equal, reaching grade 3 at the same time and all that stuff, instead of me just being ahead. So we block the first attack. We draw. Okay, we drew Bowmains. We're blessed. So Bowmain skill. We are going to... Man, I really don't want to lose any of these cards, to be completely honest with y'all. But we're going to just ditch the Wonder Ezreal, I guess. So we get the Gareth. Let's go into Accel skill. Superior Ride. Accel 2. Alright, and we got a Platina, so let's go ahead and call Sagamore. Soul Blast, draw. Call Dendrain. Skill. Soul Blast, draw. Alright, so we got 2 Platinas. Not bad at all. I ain't mad at it. Alright, let's go ahead and attack. We don't have any soul. We would call that Dendrain with the skill, but we don't have any soul, so we're just not going to call. Drive check 1, draw trigger. Let's put it to this in the hopes that he won't hit a damage trigger, and then we can get 2 more attacks off. It's like a big risk, big reward as well. So he did not check a damage trigger, so we're Gucci. Attack for 17. Did not get a damage trigger. Alright, so we're super sauce. That's super nice for us. And then our opponent guards the 3rd attack, which is fine. We have equal cards in hand. I'm superior ridden. I have more units. We're definitely ahead right now. Let's see if he what he decides to do this time. Oh my gosh, my opponent just scooped again because I guess he was like, nah, I can't do this. But I hate for that to be our 3 matches, but that's the rule of my videos. So that has been our 3 matches, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the salt of the other Gold Paladin player against us. If you see them in the streets, I don't know, talk shit to him or something like that. But I don't know, I'm just kidding. Don't talk shit to him. But anyways, if you guys have enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, comment down below as well, letting me know what you thought of the video and the deck. Also, if you have your own tips and tricks on the deck, definitely leave that in the comments below to help out other people who don't know the deck maybe as well. And with that being said, if you guys like anime and video games, be sure to check out Let's Plays Animes below. Check out our sponsor, Cardfight Vision, Team Vision, down in the description below as well. And also check out the join button for membership if you guys are interested in that as well. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace, guys.